Hello, this is Penny Kelly, and this meditation, titled Healing the Fukushima Reactors, is the seventh in a series of meditations designed to heal the Pacific Ocean from the results of the Fukushima nuclear disaster. A very compassionate man named Walter Mora felt he had to do something, so he began inviting people to come together in KINS groups to talk about what we might do to help. And these meditations arose out of those meetings. So, as we usually do, to begin, find a place to sit down or lie down and get yourself comfortable. And once you're in place, take 3 very deep breaths. These are full body breaths in which you breathe in and feel that breath filling your entire body. Fill all the way up, and then let it out slowly and completely. And then breathe in a second time, filling your whole body. Feel it in your back. Feel it in your arms. Feel it in your legs. And then let it out completely until you're empty again. And then a third time. Breathe in. Let that breath go all the way through you. Your shoulders, your abdomen, your face, your thighs. Completely full. And then breathe out slowly and completely. And after that, just breathe in your normal way and remain relaxed but aware. So then let us once again imagine that we're going to the edge of the Great Pacific. See yourself standing on the sand right at the edge of the water. And if you have shoes on your feet, take a moment to bend down and take off your shoes and your socks if you have those on as well, and just lay them aside. Walk into the water slowly. And keep moving until you're about chest deep in the water. And then stretch your arms out to the sides and just kind of rest your palms on the surface of the water. Feel the presence of that great ocean and her power. And send a greeting to that great body of water and tell Paki, that's my nickname for the Pacific, that you have come to visit once again. Ask her how she is, and let's listen for a moment for any answers, any response from her. And then don't worry whether you got a response or not. Just continue walking, going deeper and deeper into the ocean, walking along the sand at the bottom, and keep going. Keep your breathing slow and easy while you move in the direction of the islands of Japan. As you move along through the depths, remember one of our earlier walks when you were asked to develop eyes on the sides of your heads and eyes on your shoulders and eyes on the ends of your toes? Well, reopen those eyes and keep them open as you walk along, learning as much as possible from what you see and paying attention to the many kinds of sea animals moving by or swimming around. And notice and appreciate, once again, the wide variety of life filling the ocean at every level, both shallow and deep. Become aware, like before, that some of the creatures seem to be quietly watching you as well. Send out a telepathic question to them, asking them how they're doing. And listen carefully inside yourself for any answers they might send back to you. I'll give you a minute to communicate. And then tell them that you're still working to heal the great water body of the Pacific. Tell them that you bring much love to all of them and the world they live in, and that you're on your way to the nuclear reactors that have caused so many problems for them. And ask them to send good energy your way as you work on these reactors. And then wish them well and continue moving along toward the coastline of Japan. Now, after walking for a while, notice that the water is getting shallower. It's changing color. And it's feeling maybe a little more active because of the radioactivity in the water. So as you move through this water, send out quiet emanations of peace and compassion to the water, any physical creatures living in that area, and to the particles of radioactive material in that water. Be aware that you're getting close to Fukushima Prefecture, and keep going. Keep going until you come to the long U-shaped seawall. It was originally built to prevent tsunami waves up to 19 feet high from washing onto the land where all the reactors and their power supply systems were. It just wasn't enough of a seawall. So at this time now, climb up onto the seawall and just look around. Way off to the far right, you should see reactors number 5 and 6. But almost directly in front of you, you'll see reactors 1 through 4. So just kind of look, observe, survey the damage there. The reactor on the far left will be reactor 4. To its right is number 3, further to the right is number 2, and again to the right is number 1. So head toward reactor number 1, walking along the seawall, and just keep going until you reach the land, and then walk right up to the structure, noting any details or any damage. Go inside the structure now and find the tall containment structure that is usually a couple of stories high. Sometimes it has like a water moat around it, so you might have to go over that moat or through that moat, but go inside the containment structure and look around. And just make a note of what do you see in there. Are there fuel rods still in place? After observing for a minute, turn and leave reactor number 1, walking the short distance to reactor number 2. Look slowly at the structure as you come up to it and note any damage there, and then go inside the structure and just look around. Notice what you're actually seeing, the walls, the piping, any equipment, whatever is there. And then find and go into the containment chamber where the fuel rods would have been, and see whatever you can see in there. Make a mental note of what you observe. And then turn and leave and walk the short distance to reactor number 3. Look briefly at the outside of number 3 as you come up to it, and then, still breathing slowly and easily, go inside and look around. And then find the containment structure that held the fuel rods and go inside the containment structure, again noting what's there, whatever conditions exist in it. Look up, look down, look around. Make a note of what you see. And then turn and leave once more and walk the short distance to reactor number 4. Notice the outside of the structure around number 4 and what condition it's in. And then go inside and look around inside the building. Reactors number 4, 5, and 6 were not in operation at the time of the earthquake and the tsunami. So instead of going inside the containment structure in number 4, look around for the spent fuel pool. That's where they keep the used fuel rods. And it might be on one of the upper floors. But when you find it, look inside and notice the condition of the pool. Are there any rods in it? And when you're finished looking around the pool, go back outside and look at the grounds surrounding the plant, just noting anything you see. And then choose one of the reactors. Reactor 1, 2, 3, or 4. Choose one of them that you are going to enter and communicate with. So then make your way back to that reactor and enter the structure that's there, going directly into the containment structure or the spent fuel pools. And you have to find a place to sit where you can actually touch the rods, or if they've melted down, a place where you can easily reach out and touch the lump of uranium in the bottom of the containment chamber, or it might have burned through and be down in the earth somewhere. But get yourself to a place where you can reach either those rods or that lump. And try to get yourself comfortable, sitting with your legs folded as if in meditation. And then close your eyes, take a deep breath as you begin your communication. As always, when you're attempting to communicate with anything, announce your name and state your intention as clearly and simply as you can. So use your own words and make your communication personal. And then, from your heart, speak to the heart of the fuel rods or the lump of uranium and thank them for their cooperation in allowing themselves to become fuel rods in the first place. Tell them you are extremely grateful for the work they did and for the electricity they provided. Tell them that we humans needed that electricity so we would have light, heat, air conditioning, the power to produce things. And tell them that we're now looking for other, more natural ways to fill our needs for power. And then apologize. Apologize to the many particles that make up those fuel rods, telling them you are sorry for forcing them into such an unnatural relationship with one another, one that is so dangerously explosive. Tell them we accept full responsibility for the harm, for the contamination of Earth, the sky, our waters, and ask them if they would be willing to cooperate with us in helping to clean up the mess. Tell them you are going to free the particles to return to a more natural configuration, a more natural distribution, and ask them if, when they are freed, they will shift their configuration and energy charge to do no harm. So go ahead and ask, and then listen for a response. I'll give you a minute to listen. And then reach out your hands and begin stroking the fuel rods or the lump of uranium very, very gently. You want to do this almost as if you're petting a beloved dog or cat, or maybe comforting a sick child, or maybe trying to ease the pain of an aging parent. But as you stroke that metal, bring a feeling of great love to the movement of your hands and hum a soft melody or chant. So keep stroking the uranium, keep working. After a while, notice that your hands seem to be drawing particles out of the rods. These are particles of radiation, and at the end of each stroke of your hands, shake these particles into the air, freeing them forever. And keep going over and over. Just keep stroking, just kind of keep working. You're working those rods or the lump of melted down uranium. Keep freeing more and more particles. As you work, see your hands beginning to glow. And it's not a glow from radiation. It's a glow from within you. And notice that a golden white light is flowing from your hands and into the uranium, causing even more particles to be released. So keep working. And notice that the lump of uranium or the fuel rods are getting smaller and smaller. Keep working. Keep drawing your hands lovingly along those fuel rods or the lump until it's completely disintegrated. And then let your hands rest and send a message to the many particles you have just freed up and thank them for their cooperation. Ask the particles for forgiveness. Forgiveness for our ignorance, for our naivete, and thinking that we could handle anything that might happen. Tell them we are very, very grateful for the important lessons learned. One lesson being the foolishness of trying to compact their exuberant power into such a small space as a fuel rod. Tell them we accept these lessons and the wisdom gained, and that we release those particles and atoms in the rods to return to a more natural distribution. When you finish talking to the fuel rods, turn your attention to the containment structure itself. Thank that structure for doing its best to keep that radiation contained. Just reach out and touch that containment structure for just a moment and feel your own gratitude being communicated to that structure. And then expand your consciousness out to the water sitting in big barrels around the reactors. Water that's been used to keep the reactors or the fuel rods cool, and thank them for their efforts. The barrels and the water. Tell them we're working on the cleanup, and soon everyone and everything will be returned to their rightful place and their rightful activities in the world. Then say goodbye to the reactor you are sitting in. Tell it you are very grateful for the service it once provided, and that you are holding a determined space of love within you for full healing for all concerned. And then see yourself slowly rising into the air above the reactors. Now take one or two deep, slow breaths as you rise. Keep going up until you can see the entire coastline of Japan. And imagine that you are now reaching out to all those beings who work in the service of the light, the golden white light that we've been using. Ask them to join with you for a moment in generating a healing golden light for everyone on the planet. And then see almost like a rain shower of beautiful golden light floating down from the sky, around and into the reactors, and especially into our friend the Great Pacific. See Fukushima and the surrounding area filled with that diffuse golden light, and extend that light until it covers and surrounds the entire planet. And don't forget to hold yourself in that light as well for a few moments. Just kind of let that light surround and fill you as well. And then thank the light and the beings who joined in this effort. Make a mental note to return to the reactors from time to time just to support the cleanup efforts going on there. And then, very gently, give yourself directions to return to your physical body wherever you left it. Travel back slowly. Just float gracefully over the ocean, leaving a trail of golden light that falls into the water. And when you get to the place where you first entered the water, stop and pick up your shoes and socks. Turn, tell the Pacific you love her, you're working on the healing, and then say goodbye. Return to and enter your physical body, making sure you're in straight and fully aligned, and then take a deep breath. Kind of stretch in order to activate or reactivate your physical self, and then take your time reorienting yourself to the everyday. Back to the world you live in and work in and play in. No hurry.